Good morning, 10th standard students, and welcome to this Solve with Me video where I plan on discussing the exercise activities I had given to you for pronouns. Okay, the ones that I had given you at the end of the third part, which is a mixed bag of all the kinds of pronouns where you had to decide which type and within the type which pronoun was actually the best fit for that sentence, and also you had to place it correctly. Okay, so let's solve those questions today. The first one. Rosie a perdu ses livres. Now this is obviously the direct object because ses livres, the books, are the object of the action of being lost, right? This is the action of being lost. Told you when the blank begins with a possessive adjective, it is the indicator of COD. Okay? Now this is which COD will you use? It is masculine plural, so you will use les. And where do you place it? Since it's passé composé, you have to place it before the auxiliary. So it will become Rosie les a perdu. Now, please remember when you are doing COD plus passé composé, this is a situation where you have to agree the participle as well. So what have you replaced? You've replaced masculine singular. So to the participle, what's the agreement for masculine singular? An extra S. Okay. Next one. Pierre donne des pilules à ses clients. I told you a plus person gives you the clue for indirect object. Now indirect object you have two types. Lui is for singular and leur is for plural. So à ses clients, to his clients, which is plural. Therefore you have to put in leur. Now the placement is also very simple here because it's just a single verb. So you have to place it before the verb. Right? Pierre leur donne des pilules. Okay, please don't forget to write everything else except what is underlined. Next one. La bonne a nettoyé la chambre hier. Now this is again starting with the definite article. It is the room is receiving the action of being cleaned. So it is obviously again here the direct object in the passé composé. Okay. So now what is the nature of the object? It's feminine singular, right? La chambre, the room, feminine singular. So you have to replace it with la. Now, passé composé, where do you place it? Before the auxiliary. Now, if you put la here, don't you think it will clash with the a of the auxiliary? Right. So the la has to become L apostrophe a. Okay, so it will look something like this. La bonne, la nettoyer, e. Okay. Now also remember this is again similar like the first sentence, passé composé, direct object, you have to agree the participle with what you replace. You replaced with feminine singular, the agreement is an extra e to the participle. Next one, dont les montagnes is underlined. Remember when the underlined part is starting with the place preposition, direct indication that you have to use y. And where do you place the y? This is passé composé, so you have to place it before the auxiliary. It will become il y a construit sa maison. Next one. Paul est allé chez ses cuisines. Now, don't think this is direct object here because it's starting with a possessive adjective. It is, but it's not direct object. Okay? Because look at what is coming before. What is coming before is a preposition. So remember I told you whenever the underlined part immediately follows a preposition, it is a rule for the emphatic pronoun. Okay? Now which emphatic pronoun will you use here? It's not say cousin. Mind you, it's say cousine. Okay? So it is feminine plural. Therefore the emphatic you have to use is ELLES. Now emphatic, remember, there is no placement rule. You have to directly substitute it exactly where the blank is. There is no placement rule for emphatic pronouns. So it is Paul est allé chez, and where the blank, where the underlined part is, there itself you replace your pronoun. Paul est allé chez elle. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. Ses parents sont revenus de Paris. Remember, when the underlined part starts with any D word, that is the and its derivatives, you have to use en. Now, where will you place that on? This is passé composé, so you have to place it before the auxiliary. It will become ses parents sont revenus and then whatever else comes after the blank. Samedi dernier. Next one. La directrice. Now, la directrice, it's starting with the definite article yes, but this is not the direct object which you have to do because it is coming immediately after a preposition. And this is this similar like the fifth sentence. This is the case where you have to put in the emphatic pronoun. So, la directrice is feminine singular, whose emphatic is elle. Remember, emphatic pronoun is placed in the place of the underlined part. So, it will become à midi, la secrétaire va déjeuner avec elle. Okay? Next one. Il montre les images aux enfants. O is the derivative of a plus enfant is children, which is a person. Remember, a plus person should tell you have to put in a COI, indirect object. Indirect object is either singular or plural, lui or leur. Now, enfant is children, which is obviously plural, so you have to put in leur. Where do you place it? This is a simple sentence, present tense. It goes before the verb. So it becomes il leur montre les images. Okay? Next one. Now, in your exam, you're probably not going to get two underlined parts in the same sentence, but just in case you get, let's practice a couple of sentences like this. So, mon chien ne mange pas de fruits. The first one is very simple because it is obviously the subject of the sentence. You have to substitute with a subject pronoun. So, mon chien is masculine singular. You will substitute it with il. Okay. Now, de fruits is starting with the. Remember, when your underlined part starts with the, which pronoun do you use? You use on. Okay. Now, where do you place this on? This is a simple sentence with just one verb in the present tense. It has to go before the verb. Now, if you place it here, can you see that this will clash with this? So, whenever you have the clash of E's, the first T is replaced by an apostrophe. So, it will become il ne mange pas. Okay. Next one. Now, this again has two blanks here. The first blank is obviously the subject pronoun because it's at the start of the sentence. It comes before the verb. It's the subject pronoun that you have to replace here. Now, be careful here. It's not étudiant, it's étudiante. The E gives you the indication that it is something feminine singular. So, feminine singular personal subject you have to replace with L. Okay. Now, the second blank, look at it. Okay. It is a because O is a plus L plus a person, right? Because professor is a teacher, person, so you have to replace it with a COI. Now which COI? Lui. Okay? Because professor is singular. Now, where will you place that lui? Look at this sentence. Okay, it's a little complicated. Ignore the negation for to start with. Okay, so you can see that it is a obéi, which is the passé composé. Passé composé, you are placing the pronoun before the auxiliary. Now get back the negation. It will be elle, ne, lui, a, pas, obéi. Okay? So that's the way you have to deal with it. Then, finissez le devoir, dit le professeur à ses enfants. This is similar to the previous one. A plus a person. Now here the person is the COI you have to use here, indirect object. Here the person is plural, so which COI will you use? You will use leur. Now you have to place it before the verb. Okay, so D is the verb here, simple present tense. So this will remain as it is, finissez le devoir, and it will be leur dit le professeur. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So, restez à la maison avec vos frères. Avec is the preposition here which is coming before the blank. Therefore, the blank has to be replaced by an emphatic pronoun. Vos frères is your brothers, which is masculine plural. Therefore, it will be replaced by EUX, and remember emphatic pronoun. The pronoun takes the exact place of what you are replacing. Okay, so no placement rule for the emphatic pronoun. So it will be rester à la maison avec eux. Next one. Dont le bar is underlined. Remember, dont is a place preposition included in the blank, which indicates the need for E. Okay, the preposition Y. Sorry, the pronoun Y. So, where will you place it now? N'entre jamais. Jamais is never. Okay, so if you ignore the negation to start with, you have to place it. You can see that it's a simple sentence, just single verb in the present tense. So you'll have to place it before the single verb. So it'll look like this. It'll be mon père. That no will continue to remain with the apostrophe because y is also a vowel. It'll be ni entre jamais. That's it. Next one. L'infirmière a accompagné la malade à l'hôpital. Now this is obviously the personal subject because it's come before the verb. Okay. Now l'infirmière. Always remember that E accent RE is the indication of feminine singular. Okay, so you will have to substitute this in its place with elle. So it will become elle a accompagné le malade à l'hôpital. Next one, mes cousins has to be replaced here. The underlined part is preceded by a place preposition which is chez. Therefore, you have to use the emphatic here. So, mes cousins are masculine plural. Therefore, you have to use a EUX, and please remember emphatic pronouns take the exact place of what is being replaced. So je vais passer mes vacances chez eux. Okay. Next one. Le café. Le café here is the object, but is a direct object because it's receiving the action of being drunk. Okay. So here you have to use the COD. Now which one will you use? It's obvious here. Masculine singular, so you will use le. Now, be a little careful of where you're placing it. Again, there is a negation here, so for the time being, ignore it. Okay, ignore the negation for the time being. Now look at it. You have doit and you have voir. This is the voir conjugated. This is voir full. When you have one conjugated, one full, where do you place the pronoun? You place it before the full verb. So it will come here. Therefore, your answer will be on était, on ne doit pas le boire. Okay, the pronoun will come before the full verb. Next, nous achetons deux glaces. Now, remember, when you have a number in the sentence, indication of quantity, you have to use the pronoun on. Okay, and remember that the number repeats in the answer. Okay, even if the number happens to be underlined, it repeats in your answer. Okay, so number is always an indication of on. Where will you place it? It's simple because there's just one verb. It will be nous achetons, and remember to repeat the number in your answer. The. Okay. Next one, and this is the last slide. Je vais au cinéma avec mon ami. Avec is followed by the underlined part, therefore it has to be an emphatic pronoun. Mon ami. This is a feminine friend. It is feminine singular, so you will replace it with elle. Okay, so it will read as, remember, emphatic pronoun directly in the place of the underlined part. Je vais au cinéma avec elle. Next, les enfants vont au pique-nique sans leurs parents. Now be careful of this one. Might not be obvious to you, but the underlined part is preceded by a preposition. Sans is the opposite of avec. Avec is with, sans is without. So this is also a preposition. Preposition followed by underlined part signals to you have to use the emphatic pronoun. So leurs parents is masculine plural. Therefore, which emphatic do you use? You have to use a and drop it in the place of the underlined part itself. So your answer will be les enfants vont au pique-nique sans eux. Okay. Next one. Nous dînerons au restaurant ce weekend. What is underlined for you? Au restaurant. Now remember, a plus a person will give you CY, but a plus a place, which is restaurant, will give you pronoun E. Okay, the letter Y. So where do you place it? It's easy here because it's just a single verb in the present tense. You have to place it before the single verb. So it will be like this. Nous y dînerons ce weekend. Okay. Next. Je voudrais boire du coca. Du. Remember, the and any of its derivatives is an indication of O. E-N-O. So, now where do you place it? Be careful here because voudrais is conjugated here in the conditional and boire is full. So, where do you place? When one is conjugated, one is full, you place it before the full verb. So, it will be Je voudrais. On pourrait. Okay. And the last one, mon oncle. Again, there are two here. Okay. So mon oncle first is a subject pronoun because it is coming before the verb. It's a subject of the sentence. Mon oncle is masculine singular, so it is replaced by il. A offert une bouteille de vin à mon père. This is a plus a person, which indicates to you that you have to use COI. Which COI? Lui, because à mon père is a singular. Now, where do you place that COI? This is in the case of passé composé. A offert, so you place it before the auxiliary. Therefore, it becomes a lui a offert une bouteille de vin. With that, we wrap up this video. Hope these sample questions have made it clear on how pronouns is asked for your board exam. Most likely, you are not going to get two blanks in the same sentence, but it's always better to be prepared. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care and thank you.